Okay, so part four here, we're talking about crime scene investigators. And a crime scene investigator, contrary to what Hollywood would have you to believe, it is not a glamorous job. Their job is to locate, identify, collect, and process items of evidence. And other job titles associated with this are evidence technicians, crime scene analysts, crime scene technicians, forensic investigators, criminalistics officers, or scenes of crime officers. Um, so um, they don't actually investigate the case. They don't actually arrest and interrogate people like you would see on TV. These folks are the ones where we call them out and we tell them we're working a murder and somebody got stabbed, go. And then they diagram the scene, they collect the evidence, process the evidence, all of that. They don't actually sit there and figure out the whodunits and all that. They are there strictly to locate, identify, collect, and process the evidence, and that's it. Um, so let's talk about some forensics here. Um, Forensic science is the study of evidence, or particularly the scientific study of how evidence is evidence and um, how we can link evidence to things. Um, so obviously we have biology and chemistry that we use quite a bit, um, but criminalistics here is the branch of forensic science that deals with physical evidence related to a crime, including fingerprints, firearms, tool marks, blood, hair, documents, and other types of physical evidence. Um, so this, criminalistics within forensic science, that's going to be your folks at the KBI lab, um, that do the DNA profiles and the latent print analysis and drug testing and all of that sort of stuff. Um, so then we have biometrics there, which is a statistical study of biological data and a means to positively identify an individual by measuring that person's unique physical or behavioral characteristics. So this is going to cross paths with criminalistics to a point, kind of along the lines of like DNA profiling, but also, um, you know, criminal profiling as well. Then we have DNA profiling, which obviously we use material that establishes a DNA comparison profile and whatnot, and we handle that. And then ballistics is the science of motion and effects of projectiles such as bullets and bombs. So, yay. Then we have our criminal profilers who examine all of the information, behavioral information about a crime or a series of crimes, and help police agencies in their investigations. Um, and this helps us a lot of times with unknown offender profiles and investigative strategies, interview and interrogation strategies, and then providing expert testimony. And criminal profiling actually falls within the category of forensic psychology. Um, and of course, it also relies very heavily, I mean, extremely heavily on statistical data. Um, but I can tell you, in my experience, having done a couple of criminal profiles, they are fairly accurate. However, sometimes it's like trying to solve a riddle. And of course, here we see America's favorite set of criminal profilers. Then, of course, we have intelligence officers who involve like undercover officers. Criminal undercovers are the ones that you hear about a lot of times, uh, working drug cases or gang cases or things like that. And then we have internal undercovers, who serve a purpose of policing the police. Basically, they go undercover as a police officer, but their purpose is not criminal investigation, it's internal affairs investigation. Then, of course, we have juvenile officers, which a lot of times are SROs. But it is important to know that statistically speaking, juveniles commit a disproportionate number of local crimes. They have their own legal system, completely separate from the adult criminal justice system, and it is a giant pain in the butt. And they also must be kept separate from adults here, at least in Kansas. Then, of course, there's Vice, which deals with prostitution and gambling, pornography, bookmaking, all that sort of stuff. SWAT guys, canine guys, and that will get us taken care of, folks. So, quite a bit of information in this chapter. You're going to want to review it all, but it's extremely important. So, if you have any questions, get a hold of me. Thanks.